David S. Frederick on Facebook. Other than within seconds left in the barely legal pay-per-view and losing power, what other times did you and or the company panic with something gone wrong?
Well, every time the ring broke, which seemed to happen like once a month with 911's ring, until we finally stepped up and got a better ring. So that was always the case when the people would jump in the ring, when Public Enemy invited them all into the ring in Florida, and the ring collapsed with all of the people in the ring. Definitely gave my promoters heart a little bit of a skip, because I was waiting to see who was going to be the first to sue. And of course, obviously, the chair throwing incident in the arena.
Right.
Those were the only times I really got nervous.
Okay, which could answer David Davis's question, where he says, was there anything ECW did that you were scared could hurt business? For example, kimono stripping, Todd has got the crucifix angle with Sandman, burning chair, hitting a fan.
Okay, kimono stripping was brilliant.
Right.
The ring broke. These people were, it was a hot night.
Yeah.
And she was good enough to volunteer to do that.
Right.
And anybody who criticized her in the back, I won't mention any other females' names, like Francine or whoever else was back there that night who was upset. Screw them. And I love Francine, don't get me wrong, but to sit there and don't pass judgment when she saved our asses that night. She went up on that stage and she literally had that entire audience enraptured for a good 25, 30 minutes. And saved our asses when I had to rebuild the entire rings to put it back together again.
Were the objections from the vocal few just because she was doing a striptease?
Yeah. How demeaning is that? It wasn't demeaning anybody in the building, except for one or two vocal few who wouldn't do it.
But maybe safety things like burning chairs going into the audience and stuff.
Well,
that's a live
going into the audience, we had that pretty well under control. Believe it or not, the audience was really, they understood. They made the path automatically. You never saw them grabbing at one of the heels or try to get involved. Never.
Right.
In any city we went to, especially Philadelphia, but anywhere. So they had that going through the audience stuff down pretty well. And going out to the streets, they would leave the building, go out in the street, come back. The whole idea being that no one had a bad seat that way.
Right.
We wanted to make sure the guy in the back row had as memorable experience as the guy in the front row did.
You did.
He said, "Oh my God, those guys were fighting 2 inches away from me."
I was in the building in Staten Island in, I guess, 95 maybe, and
The big bubble.
they fought out of the ring, and I don't remember who it was. There was a hockey rink in the complex next door. They fought into the hockey, and someone bowled someone across the hockey and into the net and scored. Do you remember who threw who? Okay. Well,
Brian Lee, gotta love Brian Lee.
I guess this is from Twitter, at WWE Randomness. How close did your head almost come to exploding thinking about the potential lawsuits of the infamous chairs throwing incident at the ECW arena after the Terry Funk Cactus Jack match?
Well, my head almost did explode that night because I really was nervous, but I was more nervous. Well, I was as nervous actually for the fans as I was for the guys in the ring. I was nervous for the guys in the ring because I thought one of them could get really seriously hurt because no one was, was being careful. They were just being recklessly throwing everything they could. And then you worry about the guy doesn't have as good as an arm strength that hits the kid in the front row, his chair doesn't make it to the ring. Right. So yeah, that was pretty nerve-wracking. Visually, phenomenal on television.
Yeah.
But oh boy, that was, as a promoter, yeah, your heart's in your mouth.
But it gave you a promo moment forever, right?
Yeah,
those opening credits. James DiPaolo on Facebook, looking back today, do you think the Raven Sandman Crucifixion angle went too far? Also, how did you feel when you saw WWE basically do the same thing with Undertaker and Stephanie?
Well, I never thought it went too far. I didn't think it was such a horrendous angle. As I explained in the other DVD we did, that was a Kurt Angle driven thing. Kurt Angle was down visiting from Pittsburgh. Shane Douglas brought him in, trying to get him into the company. And he got totally offended by the angle, demonstratively so.
Yeah.
At which point Shane reacted. So Shane got demonstratively offended. And it was like a trickle-down effect. And then we said, really? We weren't trying to be disrespectful to anybody. We were trying to just make this a heavy-duty angle, like, oh my God, look what they did to this guy. But it was not meant with any religious overtone, even though we obviously had one. But when we came up with the angle, we weren't thinking along that vein at all.
Were you surprised when it showed up on WWE television later?
No. Everything we did showed up on WWE television later to a degree.